light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Yes, I am. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. A little birdie told me that life is so sweet. As I listen to her song, I know I am complete. I have all the keys to love, joy, and peace. The power is infinite. Love will increase. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. A little birdie told me life is so sweet. As I listen to her song, I know I am complete. I have all the keys to love, joy, and peace. The power is infinite. Love will increase. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am happy, so healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Every day I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Can't you see I'm happy now? So healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm happy and healthy, wealthy. I am happy, I'm healthy, and wealthy. Oh, I'm wise. I am happy and healthy and wealthy
Good morning, everybody. Beautiful day today. I'm so happy to see all of you. And I want to make a few announcements before I start because I don't want Susan Hicks to yell at me. So one is that we're planning a garage sale for April 10th. So if you'll start getting your stuff together now, and right around the 1st of February, Susan will start, I think she said a month before, she'll start accepting and storing your things in her garage. So we'll keep you posted. We have 6 people signed up for spiritual principles and practices. We welcome anybody else. If you want more information about that, give me a call. And then the third thing is I want to congratulate our own Casey Wilson, who's here today, who got a big job with Centers for Spiritual Living, the home office, and I can't remember the name of her job. It's a big one. We're really proud of her, and we're so happy for her. Yeah. Okay, so just reminding everybody to keep your phones turned off, and we cannot sing, but you can mouth the words in your mask. I do it all the time because I don't like not being able to sing along. And now it's my great joy to welcome our visitor from freezing cold Chicago, Illinois, Cantor Linda Hope, who is our musician today. Please help me welcome her.
Thank you so much. I just want to say hello without the mask for a minute. It's wonderful to be here again. I was here last February and feel so homey. So thank you for having me again this year. This is an original song called One Heart, and it really speaks to our knowing that we are one consciousness of one being with one source. Enjoy. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la ya la 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 ya la life, it is joy, it is love, it is mystery. Life is revealed in this moment in time. Life, it is joy, it is love, it is mystery. Life is renewed in this moment in time. Lie high with open hearts, let it wash over you. Love all and all for one, that is what we must do. La 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 la. Hey, la 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 la. Ya la ya la ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la ya la 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 la. Life, it is joy, it is love, it is mystery. Life is revealed in this moment in time. Life, it is joy, it is love, it is mystery. Life is renewed in this moment in time. Fly high with open hearts, send it out into space. Now's the time to be the change, make this world a better place. La 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 la. Hey, la 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 la. Lev echad, lev echad, lev echad, lev echad. That means one heart. Lev echad, lev echad, lev echad, lev echad. Lev echad, lev echad, lev echad, lev echad. Lev echad, lev echad. One heart, lev echad. Thank you.
Alrighty then. Cantor Linda songs that she's singing today are all original tunes, and they're all from her new album called One Heart. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, you can go to her website, Linda, Lynda, Drescher, Dresher.com. And today, actually not today, but it is today, January 31st, we're starting the annual Season for Nonviolence, which was started 24 years ago by the Association for Global New Thought. And it begins with the anniversary of the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi on January 30th, and it ends on the April 4th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King, Jr. It is anchored, of course, in our desire to promote more peace and to especially focus on it during the next 64 days. So this week in the bulletin, you will find a pledge that is a wonderful pledge for each of us to take and just embody as we go through our days. So stay tuned for that. And it's also World Interfaith Harmony Week. So we are just focusing on harmony, and God knows we can use more of that. All right, so join me in our opening prayer, knowing that the infinite mind we call God is truly all there is, and it expresses beautifully by means of each of us here. We are God's emissaries on this plane. So we know when we pray that what we're doing is remembering that there is never any separation, that God is always there, always just waiting for us to recognize and acknowledge and use the power of co-creation for our good and for the greater good of our world. So we know this. We know we're always connected, and we know that our words have power. So I'm speaking my word right now into the law of mind, which always says yes, and I'm declaring a beautiful, uplifting, fun, joyful service today, where we all focus on the peace that we all want to see in our thoughts, in our words, and in our deeds. So I'm knowing that is unfolding perfectly, as our service is unfolding perfectly, and I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very thankful to everyone who makes this possible. Our volunteer musicians, our volunteers who do creative thought, our volunteers who set up, our volunteers who do the technical stuff that if I had to do it, you'd be looking at me with a tin can and a string. So I am very thankful for all of our beautiful volunteers, and also for those, Glenn and Fran and Adriana, who've been helping prepare the soil and move dirt for planting our living wall. So thankful. So I release this word right now to mind, knowing it is already happening. The service has begun, and it holds a beautiful place in everyone's heart, whether it's here or whether you're home watching us on YouTube. So I release my word to mind and gratefully acknowledge that it is already done and already so. And we close the prayer by saying, and so it is. All right. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, East Hawaii, where our vision is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And our mission is to provide an environment of aloha, inspiring a spiritual approach to living. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. So now it's my great pleasure to welcome our creative thought presenter. Today it is Sandi Alstrand.
Thank you, Reverend Kathy. Hello, everybody. So I've been kind of thinking about that I should write a book called The Spiritual Lessons I Learned from Star Trek, if it hasn't already been written. A few, I don't know, maybe it was a couple of months ago, this segment of a Star Trek episode just came into my mind, and it's just one little snippet from a show. And I was trying to think, why is this coming to me, and what's it telling me? What lesson am I to learn from this? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the episode. In this episode, Kirk, Spock, and Bones are stranded on a planet with a beautiful lady named Miss Hedford. She's a commissioner. On this planet is a gentleman, a human being actually, who's also stranded. His name is Alstrand, and there's an entity called the Companion. The Companion is this blob about this big of shimmering light who looks kind of like this. The combination of this and Kathy's outfit. So, I'm not going to go into real detail on the whole show, but eventually, the guys from the Enterprise want to leave the planet, but they can't. And it turns out that the Companion is in love with Alstrand. So when, the other thing is Miss Hedford actually has this rare virus and she's dying. So they wanted to get her off the planet so they could save her. So when Alstrand found out that this entity that would come to him and merge with him was in love with him, for some reason, he thought that was disgusting. So Miss Hedford, in her delirium, she heard that and she started saying, "Oh my goodness, I've had a really wonderful life, but I have never loved anyone and I've never been loved. And now this guy, he's totally loved and he's rejecting it. I can't understand that. That's horrible." So what happens is the entity, they finally get across to the entity or to the Companion that they can't stay on the planet. They would die. They can't just stay there to keep Alstrand company, and they'll all, because they're human beings, they'll die from boredom. So the Companion understands this, and it's a she, she goes, the next scene you see is Miss Hedford walking out of the house, and she's standing there in all her beauty, and Bones scans her and says, "She's fine, there's nothing wrong with her." And Miss Hedford says, "We are one now. We are the Companion, and we are Miss Hedford." And so Miss Hedford and Alstrand decide to talk, and he's kind of looking at her like, "Oh, this might be okay." And so they go off on a walk, and then when they come back, he's decided that it's fine for, that he does love her. So there's one scene, this is a scene that came into my head. Alstrand is standing like, say, there where Dennis is, and Miss Hedford is standing here, and she had a scarf on, and she takes it off, and she goes. Thank you. So she looks at Alstrand through her scarf, and they show it, and it's from her viewpoint, and this gets me. She's seeing him the way she saw him as her true self. And so I don't know why this gets me, but what that said to me was that it doesn't matter who we are, like if we get a degree, if we become an explorer, if we're, just the guy who walks along the road with a stick picking up, garbage. That's not who we truly are. Who we truly are is this light that's inside of us. And that, we need to remember that is who we are. And so that is what I've been doing every day. I try to remember that. And I always light a candle in the morning because that candle represents the light inside of me. And it's not just inside of me, it's who I am. And it's who we all are. So you're all out there just shimmering shimmering people. So thank you so very much.
Okay. When Sandy came in this morning, she looked at Dennis and she said, "Kathy looks like the entity." And I was like, what does that mean? And then when she gets up here to explain it, she goes, and the entity is this big, huge blob. But then she says, of shimmering light. So I'm glad I'm not just a big, huge blob. I'm glad I'm also shimmering light. Anyway, I have to go see that episode. I have not seen that. All right, so it's time to welcome back our musician today, Cantor Linda Hope.
Thank you. And this is so appropriate, this song. There's never coincidences, right? This is called The Miracle of God is Everywhere. So, hey. And we are all that miracle. There we are. The miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. It's in our hearts. It's in our soul. It's in our hearts. It's in our soul. Miracle of God is everywhere. Miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. When we truly feel, when we truly feel, miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. When we see God's light, when we know God's light, the miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. The miracle of God is everywhere. It's in our hearts. It's in our soul.
Thank you, Cantor Linda. That was beautiful. And now it is my great joy to introduce our speaker, who is wearing two hats today, as usual. He's usually wearing 3 or 4, but it's our technical guru, Adam Lightplay. So we look forward to hearing what he has to tell us today. Please help me welcome Adam. He's on his way up here.
All righty then. Get out from behind the camera and back out in front of it. Hey, got a few notes here. I can breathe freely now. The air is gone. Excuse me. Forgot to clear my throat or anything. So, wow, I get to talk again. That's one of my favorite things, and I signed up for it months ago, and then I had to figure out what I was talking about. And sometimes I've got 1,000 things all saved up. And luckily, Kathy sends me notes from the head office. They have little suggestions about what you should talk about each week. And I'm an improv guy, so I love that. It's like, okay, give me a subject and I'll roll with it. Scenes from a hat, basically. Okay, the subject is God is infinite. Okay, let me pick another one. Okay, God is infinite. Yeah, okay, how about another one? God's infinite. That's what they all are. But let's do a genre. And there's infinite genres, so if the subject is infinity, and there's an infinite ways to talk about it, that's infinity times infinity, which leads us into other dimensions and gets really exciting. And I'll get back to the dimensions later on. So I was looking at all the notes they gave, and it was a little hard for me to wrap my mind around. I don't know why. Maybe I just wanted to get back to binge watching Outlander on Netflix or something, but a few things popped out. Divine unfolding, and I didn't know God was folded up. Like, did somebody, shame on you crumble up God and ball and threw him in the corner, you know? So anyway, we take that omni origami and we unfold it and we get back to God. But some of the other notes that really jumped out at me that they'd like me to mention this week are ancient and sacred wisdom, the trajectory of our movement, and very similar to what Sandi was talking about and what Linda's been singing about, the evolutionary impulse of spirit to work through us, and the upward journey of divine unfoldment. So I was talking to somebody about, let's see, I got to figure out what I'm talking about, and she goes, well, onward and upward. And it's like, that's my topic. That's what I'm supposed to talk about, is onward and upward. So let's do that. And one of the ways we go onward and upward and recognize that, and we don't talk about it as much, we talk about our symbol. So I've got our symbol over here. See, I got the technology working, so it's all in place for our annual meeting coming up in a few weeks. So our PowerPoints can be on the screen. So it was an opportunity to play with the electronic toys, which I always love too. But as you know, this is our symbol. Excuse me. And there's the 3 levels, and then there's the V. So we'll talk about the V in a second. But the it's all God. And so this is just kind of like our version of Trinity. It's not Ernest Holmes giving you a peace sign, although it could be, if you want to believe that. But what the V is. So we'll get to that in a second. So, and then there's the 3 layers, but it's all God. So it's just kind of different ways of looking at the parts of God. And of course, we're part of the infinite source. We're God. We're connected to it. So this is our nature as well as God's nature. So they call the infinite, in the beginning was the Word. So that's kind of the top line there, spirit, the consciousness, the let there be light, that original thought. And in the middle, we sometimes call it the soul, which, I don't know, that one always confused me a little bit. We also call it the law or the law of mind. I call it the divine Play-Doh factory because it's the part of God that actually brings that, it says, let there be light. So that middle part is the part that actually creates light and a light switch. And then that light and that light switch is a physical object. Well, I don't know about light, that's confusing. But the switch itself and our experience of it, and that's the end result. And that's down on the bottom. So that's the body or the effect, the lower level. And what makes the most sense for me, ready camera 2, go camera 2, is that the one I like is seed, soil, plant. That's what works really simple for me. You plant a seed in the ground, that's the original thought or request. The manifesting nature of the universe is the soil that grows your result, and at the end you get a flower or a vegetable or a weed, depending on what you put in the soil. So if you get a weed, you got to look at what seeds you planted. You can't just go, oh, where'd this weed come from? What the heck is that? But then we've got the V. And I don't claim to fully understand it, but as much as I do, I'm going to rattle on as if I do. So it goes down and it goes back up. So what I just described, kind of that process of seed, soil, plant, that's the downward part of the V. That's God descending into spirit, God's infinite nature manifesting as all the beautiful little 3D objects that are in our world. And the V going back up, that's where we go upward. And I guess that's what I'm supposed to talk about this week. And that's us down here in the world recognizing that middle level, that manifesting nature of God, noticing that it responds to our thoughts, and that works our way up to an awareness of the wholeness and how our original thought created that. So we are both bringing things into form and also using the wisdom of our form to recognize everything else. And we started that in the Garden of Eden, and we had a few issues, and we're still working it out. Okay. Just taking care of all my personal needs here. I'm so selfish. I mean, the infinite source was thirsty, so I am expressing that. Another fun little lesson that we cover in some of the Science of Mind classes, and there's a new one coming up in February, so be sure and check your email, and Reb Bev's going to do a new class, so I know that's going to be fun. So I highly recommend all the classes. They really bring a lot of joy and connection and wisdom. So. And in some of them, they taught us a thing called the Four Kingdoms, and I haven't heard us talk about it much in the church, so I figure it's a good opportunity to bring that in. Michael Beckwith released something back in the 80s and called it the 4 Stages of Spiritual Growth. And like I say, sometimes we call it the 4 Kingdoms. So the first level, the first kingdom, is what is just like not really being aware of anything spiritual. It's just, I'm here, you're over there, you piss me off, I'm a victim, they did it to me, and it's a land of fear and control, and it's where we all go. Now these 4 kingdoms, it's not like you leave that kingdom and you never go back. On any particular day, you can roam between quite a few different kingdoms or states of consciousness. So we're just kind of showing what they are, so that we're aware of them, so maybe it'll occur to us, oh, I'm here in this kingdom. So the first kingdom, like I say, is it's being done to me. Life is a series of events, relationships, and circumstances that happen to me. Now, there's always a ticket to go to the next kingdom, and that's something that you have to release. I think they kind of did the same thing in that Avatar: The Last Airbender, if anybody's a fan of that. I think he had the same kind of lessons, like to get to the next level, you had to be willing to, you had to give up something. And to leave the first kingdom, you've got to be willing to release blame and no longer say I'm a victim and no longer say that they're doing that to me. So then you move into the second kingdom. And the second kingdom is when you've watched The Secret. And you got it. Ooh, and you're all Tony Robbins and all those, Neil Donald Walsh and Wayne Dyer, and oh, I create my reality, and hoo-hoo, I'm doing it. I've got the power. I'm no longer a victim. And so, let's see, you gain control. You give up blame. You accept responsibility. Hey, I'm doing this. You learn some spiritual tools. You learn affirmations and how to influence your thoughts and control it all and make it happen. And that's pretty good for a while, but not always perfect. So there's still 2 more kingdoms to go. So, to move out of stage 2, you have to be willing to give up control. But I just learned how to be control. I've done all my affirmations, and now I'm a super powerful creator. Yeah, let that go. Okay. So in the third kingdom, or the third stage of consciousness, you've let go of control, and you discover that it's not being done by you, it's being done through you. You and the source are working together, or you as the seed and the soil are growing the plant together. In doing so, I discover trust and connection with energetic forces beyond my individual self. Through me, I am an instrument and conduit for life to move and express through me easy. And I don't know, the third kingdom is kind of my good days where I think I got to do something, and then I'm just going to let it go, and I'm just going to let it happen, and it flows easily. And that's the third kingdom. But it's still, I'm working with the source. So what's left? I am the source. It happens not to me, it not happens because of me, it doesn't happen through me, it happens as me. And this is the state that the masters and Jesus walked in, is just knowing that you are the manifester. And honestly, I've only really experienced this realm, just little hints. When I'm really on the right herbal supplement, then I can get a glimpse of that. But that's the fourth kingdom. One with all life, no separation. I and the infinite sources of the universe are one. I am God's spirit life, being me. At once unique and intrinsically part of the greater whole, I am one with all life. Excuse me. Wow. I was fine, and then I started talking, and wow. So we've gone over this many times, but it's really easy to dislike things, especially on Facebook, and a lot of people spend a lot of time saying what they don't want. And even I think I've said this over and over again, I'll say it one more time, I think even a lot of the political arguments are about what we don't want. What we do want is safety, peace, love, shelter, be with our family, not have anybody shooting and killing us. Almost all of us want that. But our disagreement is how to get there. So I don't like your solutions to get peace, and you don't like my solutions to get peace, and then we get all this conflict. So it's really easy to be against things. And since it's an infinite universe, there's an infinite number of things to not be okay with. And it's much more challenging to say, what am I for? Then you got to take a little more responsibility. Yeah, I don't like, it pisses me off. Well, what do you want? Oh, yeah. So that takes a little more effort, but since God is empowering your thought, we've just said, he's the divine Play-Doh factory, he grows the seed you plant. It all comes down to, it's almost like that positive thinking is our first lesson, our first aha, and the one that we have to keep working on, because we're going to grow what we dwell on. And and then eventually you run into that thought, either an atheist or an agnostic challenges you, or just when you or one of your spiritual friends is having a bad day. And the biggest question is, why does God let crappy things happen? If God's infinite, why does he allow pain and all these ucky things to happen? And the best explanation I've heard from that is, according to one of the texts, we are made in the image and likeness of the Creator. So we are God. We are an extension of God, and God's nature is infinite. God's nature is infinite freedom, infinite ability to create whatever the thought wants. And that is our nature too. And if God were to step in and say, oh no, you can't go there because that's bad, or you're hurting someone, then that's God saying, you're not made in my image. I'm going to control you and tell you you can't go past this point. So God the source gives us the room because we are the source and we are God. We have the room to do whatever we want, and there may be consequences of it, and it may not be something that in the 3D realm we see as being the best, most loving choice, but we are free to do that because we are infinite creators, just like the source. And a lot of people have heard of Viktor Frankl. He was a person that was in the Holocaust and in Auschwitz, and most of his family was killed in the Holocaust. And I'm not an expert in this, so I hope I get it wrong, and I hope I'm not culturally appropriating anything I'm not supposed to. But the way I heard the story is that as he was being abused and controlled and, you know, having everything stripped from him in Auschwitz, he realized that the one thing that they couldn't take away from him was what was inside his head and his heart. He realized there was one last freedom, no matter what they did to abuse him or kill him. They couldn't, he still had a choice of what he believed in, what he thought, and what he felt, and what he chose to be. And he discovered that there was that one freedom left. And later on, he became a very well-known psychotherapist and author. And a couple of the quotes he said, one of them is that the one thing you can't take away from me is the way I choose to respond to what you do to me. The last of one's freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance. So remember that. Even though we're powerful creators, even though we're God playing in this 3D realm, there might be things that bother us, but we still have that power of how to respond to it. And sometimes that can be really miraculous, which I'll get to in a second. So another quote from Viktor Frankl is, between stimulus and the response, there is a space. Between the stimulus and then our response to it, there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And, you know, as always, I know I'm talking to myself too, so I'm not claiming that I'm any better at this than anybody else. I'm just trying to remind all of us. So I was helping a friend over the phone. I do a breath therapy process called rebirthing, where you sit with a person and help them do a connected breath and breathe in more God and let go of their stuff. It's very powerful, and fortunately, as we've discovered in the last year, it can be done over Zoom. You can still sit there and hold the space and coach someone or many people through that breathing process, even from a distance. So I was rebirthing a friend of mine on Kauai, and she'd been going through some tough times and wasn't feeling real great. So she was breathing for a while, and not too much was happening, and she still didn't feel that great, but she was doing the breath and continuing. And then I heard this noise. It was kind of, it was like, you know, I was wondering if she fell asleep. Was she snoring in a very strange fashion, or was Zoom having some audio issues? So I talked a little bit just to see if it was feedback. And I finally realized that what it was, you know, she mentioned or whatever, that over on her end, somebody outside her window was running a weed whacker, but it wasn't like the usual, you know, weed whacker that just goes on until you're ready to stick a popsicle stick in your ear or something. It was just a little regime. And it was over, just a little bzim. Bzim. So we kind of laughed about it, and she said, you know, that's my life. You know, that's a symbol of where I'm at. I just can't get started. You know, it's like, but I just can't get started. And me being the logical engineer mind, you know, it's like trying to figure out what's really going on. And I said, well, it sounds like he just needs to do a little trimming. Most everything's perfect, and he's just going along going, oh, well, there's a weed. So he only has to tend to a few little things. I said, maybe that's your life. Maybe everything's perfect, and You only have to attend to a few little things. And she just started laughing, and that was the concept that helped her, was just shifting the thing instead of, oh, this experience I'm having is representational of my life can't start. It's like, this experience happening is representational of the fact that most everything's good, and I just need to do a little here, a little bit there, and oh, there's one weed, and everything else is fine. So that was the thought that shifted it for her. So we never know what little thing does it, but when we start thinking about it differently, or we frame what happens in a different way, it can give us great joy. And then that's what we manifest more of, is that kind of thought. Wow. I hope I'm filled my 20-minute commitment here. I moved through that rather quickly. Huh? Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll give you a partial refund. I don't know how long I've been talking. Probably about right. And we like to leave with some quotes. We always like to leave wisdom from the great sages. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the great sages, Roger John Reynolds Greenway, Roger Frederick Cook, Billy Davis, and Bill Backer, right? Okay, yeah. Well, maybe you'll recognize their words here. So just get in a good space and really feel this in your heart and sense the truth in these words. I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow-white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That's a song I hear. Sing it along. Let the world sing today over and over. I think that's a good concept. And I promise to come back to the multidimensional aspect, so let's try the fifth dimension. When the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. Harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. No more falsehoods, fake news, or derisions. Golden living dreams of vision, mystic crystal revelations, and the mind's true liberation. I wish you a liberated mind. I wish you an easy revelation of what's yours to do. I wish you peace and joy, whatever kingdom or stage you find yourself in. Thank you.
Good job, Adam. Good job. I was kidding him earlier. I gave him his check for speaking, and I said, I'm paying you in advance, but don't make me come and get that check out of your pocket. You can keep the whole thing, Adam. Very good job. Appreciate you in so many ways. All right. Now it's time for conscious giving. And I have to do my little spiel about how you can give. If you're here, there are 2 baskets. If you're giving in person, if you're at home watching us, there's a donate link on the YouTube channel. And there's also a reference on our webpage, hawaiicsl.org. Checks are acceptable, and you can find the address on our website or on the back of your directories. And as always, thank you so much for your generosity, for keeping us up and running and growing, even in the midst of all the challenges we've had this year. We've done just fine, and I so appreciate that from everybody. All right, so if you would like, join me in our prosperity affirmation. Divine love, in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is. All right, so we bless our offering in advance and know that it goes to all the right places and takes care of all the right things, and that we always have more than enough to take care of everything we need to take care of. So that's a great blessing, and so it is. All right, so let's welcome back for her final song, Cantor Linda Hope.
Thank you again. And of course, I planned this one. It was perfect. It's all about peace. So he was just talking, Adam, about peace. As we know, we are the peace. We are divine love. And letting it shine through and be that for us. It's written, this particular song is written by an Arab and Israeli that decided to come together knowing they are one in a profound way and create this beautiful melody. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. And Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu means, let us be the peace. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Thank you. Peace.
Thank you so much. Beautiful songs and so appropriate. She's right, there are no accidents. So we have one standing in the light request today, and before I talk about that, I want to remind people, if you would like us to stand in the light, if you'd like the benefit of spiritual support, you can either call me or email me if you're at home, or if you're here, we have the little form we ask you to fill out, and it's a good thing to do. So this is from Nina, and she's asking us to stand in the light for her granddaughter, Amanda Odish, who is waiting for her refinancing of her home to come through. So we're knowing two things. We're knowing that this proceeds smoothly and that it's in perfect right timing. And then we're also knowing for Amanda that she's peaceful as she waits, and that she comes to the realization that God is her source and supply, and her prosperity can come through many channels. But specifically, we are treating to know that this refi goes through easily and effortlessly and perfectly. And so it is. All right. Also, my friend Dale Dinsmore celebrated her 83rd birthday yesterday. I wish we could sing because we would be singing very loudly. Dale has been a member of this church since way before my time, and she's just a wonderful woman. All of you who know her know that. And her friend sent her longtime friend, sent some, Oh, too bad. Well, Dale, we love you. Anyway, the message is going through the walls into the stall. She's going, what's happening? No. Anyway, her daughter Danica has brought some treats to share after church, so please do stay and wish Dale a happy birthday. Okay. So, before I close with the closing treatment and our closing circle, reminding everybody that we do have a Zoom link if you'd like to come on and socialize after the services, and you'll find that link for the virtual sanctuary in your bulletin that comes every week. This is the same link we also use for the Aloha Circle every Thursday at 10 o'clock, and for our Wednesday night healing service every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And you can always call me if you want more information about any of that. So, let's come together in the same consciousness that we had when we had our opening prayer, and that is the consciousness of that one mind that operates perfectly through, as, by, and for each of us when we tune in. So I'm knowing for the week to come that we all take the time to nurture our spiritual practice, to stop and breathe when we're tense, to remember who and what we truly are, and to be able to move from that first kingdom that Adam was talking about straight up to the fourth kingdom, where we know that we are spirit expressing and we are love in action and all is well. So I'm knowing that for each of us here in person, and for those of us who are watching at home, and just for our island, our state, and our world, that peace is unfolding perfectly. So we know we have peace in our hearts and in our minds and in our actions and in our words. We embrace the spirit of nonviolence, and we act as emissaries of God's Spirit right here on this plane, on this three-dimensional realm, as Adam calls it. So we just call upon that divine Play-Doh factory that takes our thoughts and molds them into form, and we just fill it with thoughts of peace, thoughts of harmony, thoughts of solution, thoughts of love, thoughts of unity, and we just let it unfold. So I release this to mind right now, to law, knowing that it is happening, unfolding, taking place right here and right now. We just let go of all appearances to the contrary, and we keep our minds with God. So we let this go, we let this be so. We have a beautiful week to come, and so it is. Thank you, everybody. See you next week. We love you. Aloha.
Aloha. As Reverend Kathy mentioned, yesterday was my mom's 83rd birthday. And to me, she's just my mom. But so many people over the years have told me how much they appreciate her, how kind she is, how gentle, how compassionate. And I have to tell you, in my entire 53 years on this planet, I have never once heard my mom say a mean thing to anybody my entire life. And I can't say the same thing for myself. A friend of hers, who she has known for a long time, sent the church a little money to bring some to honor, acknowledge, and celebrate her birthday. We have been very special friends since junior high school. It's great to share her special friends at church. She speaks often of each of you. Our heartfelt gratitude in being there for our dear friend Dale. With love and blessings to each of you, prayers up, always and always, Sandi and Jim Helt. So to them, we say thank you, and to my mom, I say thank you. And if you have any food allergies, I'm sorry, these are from Foodland, so they have probably everything that you're allergic to, gluten, sugar, and dairy. But for those who aren't, please enjoy a cupcake. I wish we could sing too, but we're singing in our hearts, Mom.
Hi folks, Adam here. I hope you can join us right now over in a nice Zoom meeting so we can see each other face to face and come up with the closest thing we can to coffee and fellowship after church. So if you're watching on your computer and you're watching in full screen, you might have to hit the escape key so it comes back to a view kind of like this. And then if you move down here, you'll see the description of the video. You might have to click on the show more, and there's the link for the Zoom. So now all you have to do is click on that link, and it will take you to the next page, and hopefully you've already got the Zoom app installed. If you've never used Zoom before, it'll offer you the choice to download and run Zoom. Otherwise, you can just ask it to open up your Zoom app, and you click on that window, and now there it goes, and it's opening up, inviting you to join with your computer audio. Yes, that's what you want to do. And voila, you'll be in the room. If you're watching on your mobile phone, it's similar. You might have to scroll down from the YouTube video or click a drop-down menu so that you can see, again, the description of the YouTube video. And in that description, you'll see the Zoom link, and click on it, and there you go. You're all invited to the Zoom meeting, and very quickly you will see all your friends. Thanks.